Okay, great. My name is Tiffany Haynes, and I'm the Director of Homebuyer and Community Engagement. And I would like to take time to have my colleagues introduce themselves, as well as some of our partners, the lenders, if any, as well as our realtor, if she's on the call, to introduce themselves as well. Let's start with you, Flora.
Sure. My name is Flora Valdez-Depena. I am the Administrative and Communications Manager for Maggie Walker CLT. So I handle all of our social media and email communications, as well as our events, Zoom virtual events, and a few other things. So nice to meet you all. Glad to see you here.
Elizabeth, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, and Tiffany, your audio kind of keeps going out. I don't know if anyone else is having that problem.
I'm gonna actually try to switch my audio thing because I've been hearing that.
I hear it now. It's a little in and out. Anyways, I'm Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. I'm the Vista with the Maggie Walker.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And
yes.
I can't hear you. So give me 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. Let me know if it continues to be an issue, okay?
Cool.
All right, great.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So my primary role with the CLT is working with the potential home buyers through the application process. So I do a lot of the income verification, processing parts of your application, and serving as a support to Tiffany throughout the process.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Viva, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everybody. This is Viva Moore. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Fulton Mortgage, and was actually inspired to get in the industry by becoming a first-time home buyer myself. So definitely looking forward to hopefully speaking with you all throughout this process. And yeah, there's a lot of good information shared on this call. So hope everyone enjoys.
Thank you, Viva. Jen?
Good evening, everyone. This is Jen. I am the realtor that works with the CLT. I help list and sell the homes that are in the program, and also serve as a resource to any of the clients in the program or realtors who are assistant clients that would like to purchase a CLT home.
And both of them, like everyone that just introduced themselves, they are great people, great resources. If you have questions regarding anything that Jen can answer, Jen is very eager to support and help, as well as Viva. Viva has been a lovely resource as far as the lending process. And Flora and Elizabeth, they do their thing behind the scenes. So I just wanted to do that, say that. Did I miss anyone else before I move forward? Any other lenders or realtors on the call that I missed?
I think you're all good.
All right, great. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the poll. Flora, if you can get that up for us, that would be great. Now that we've introduced ourselves, it's an opportunity to kind of gauge who's in the space.
Tiffany, I think unfortunately you have to be the one to control the polls this evening. It's not letting me since you're logged in.
Huh, okay. 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 I think I launched it. And I can give you back if you want. If you don't want it, then
no, it's because you're logged in with the account, and that's why it says I'm logged in with another session. It's not a co-host thing.
Oh, okay.
No worries though, it's okay.
Okay. It looks like we have 14 of 18 of us who participated. And I think that would be us, right, who didn't answer?
Probably, yeah.
15, so yeah, I think we're good. All righty, I'm gonna end the poll. So it looks like we have a lot of people who are interested in purchasing a home. We have 2 realtors on the line. We also have just a few interested citizens and some folks who are involved in affordable housing. All right, you guys can see that a little. All right, so now I'm going to go into the resources. These are 2 resources available to you regardless of whether or not you work with the MWCLT program. So Commonwealth Catholic Charities offers a free one-to-one credit counseling service. And the Housing Resource Line can also connect you with a number of resources related to housing. I know they are connected to resources like rental assistance, mortgage assistance, eviction expungement, and several other things that resource line could serve as a resource for, or at least connect you to the right people to get that support. So I do highly encourage you all to get connected with that. Just as well, Commonwealth Catholic Charities not only offers a one-to-one credit counseling, they have a credit boot camp and probably some other resources that may also be helpful for you all in the process. All right. So now I'm going to go over the agenda, who is in the what we're going to be going over. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is a community land trust, some program details, and then your next steps on how to apply. All right. So we already did introductions, so I'm going to go into our questions. So in the chat or unmute yourselves, please answer what excites you about home ownership.
Having something I can own.
Thank you, Micah. Is it Micah? Micaiah? Micaiah? Sorry. Micaiah. Thank you so much for that. I apologize.
For me, I would say privacy. So like not having to share like the parking lot and worrying about the noise, etc., things like that.
That is a very important consideration.
I would say leaving a legacy behind for future family.
Thank you, Mr. Towns. So I'm not going to hold you all on that unless we have some responses in the chat. Flora, can you?
Yeah.
Flora, thank you.
Yeah. We see Max says gaining equity. We're definitely going to talk about that. Elaine says owning and legacy, like we had some other folks mention. Stability and freedom, definitely big components. Investment, as in having something that grows, not throwing money away renting. That's a really good point.
Those are all very great points, everyone. So now that we've considered what excites you all, now let's talk about what makes you nervous or apprehensive around that process.
I would say getting my help with my credit, pretty much. That's an important piece there. Getting the right lender, along with getting the counseling you need to kind of like get through the whole process. It's stressful.
For me, like once we're in, being able to financially stay abrupt to handle like the billing and stuff like that.
Hi, for me, it's basically when something breaks, not having the money set aside to repair it. Knowing that, like he stated earlier, wasting money. If something in this apartment breaks, I'm calling y'all to fix it sooner than later.
Couple of folks in the chat are saying the amount of time it takes to pay off a house. Yeah, getting into a mortgage. Maintenance and unexpected costs, like a couple other folks mentioned. Getting pre-qualified, definitely a big thing. Sellers markets or high pricing. That's a big perk about MWCLT that we'll talk about. Breaking through redlining and past discriminatory practices. Yeah, definitely. Mortgages, being educated on the process before getting involved in it. Definitely.
Thank you for that, Flora. So all of those are very valid concerns and considerations to think through when going through the homeownership process. And as you can see, there are some positive things that we look forward to. And there's also some things that make us a little apprehensive about the process. But we have some people on the call who can definitely support you through that process. And if they're not here, we can connect you with people who could serve as a resource in getting you all through that process. So thank you for sharing those. Thank you for being vulnerable and honest about that. All right. So now we're going to go into a little about who is Maggie Lena Walker. So Maggie Lena Walker was the first Black woman to establish a bank and to serve as the president of a bank in the United States. She was a community and business leader, not only through her work in developing the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank, but also just being an innovative leader and a leader who really looked into the future about things, who really thought about the future, about building up Black legacy and lifting up her community and her family. Maggie Lena Walker not only lifted herself up throughout many adversities, but also brought people along the way and created a path for people to be able to lift themselves up as well. So here's a short summary for who she is, but she definitely was a visionary leader, and we as Maggie Walker Community Land Trust seek to do our work in her name to honor her leadership and vision of being able to provide, by us being able to provide a diverse, inclusive, safe, attractive, sustainable, affordable, and affordable housing for all people. So really just making sure that our program embodies equity and being able to help people create their legacy. All righty. So you probably know about the Maggie Walker Community Land Trust through our work with permanently affordable homeownership, which we will be talking about tonight. But we also operate Richmond Land Bank, which puts vacant property into strategic community uses. So the Citizens Advisory Panel makes decisions about that land in the land bank. And you can participate in those meetings and find our website on the website, the Richmond Land Bank website. And Flora, can you drop that in the chat for me, please?
Yeah, the link is in the chat.
Thank you. Oh, also, I don't know if Flora or Elizabeth, you all can monitor the chat because I have it closed so that I can see everything on my end.
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much. All right. So now we're going to get into what is a community land trust? What do you know about a CLT? All right, so a community land trust is a new way to help families afford home ownership now and in the future. The CLT reduces the cost of home ownership and keeps the home affordable for now and future buyers. So with that being said, there are over 350, and I need to update this presentation, my apology, but there are over 350 community land trusts nationwide and in 45 states, as well as the District of Columbia. And this is a map where it kind of lays out to give a general idea of where they're located. So the first CLT was in Albany, Georgia. It evolved out of the civil rights movement where Black citizens who were sharecroppers were getting kicked out of their homes. And if their white landlords found out they had registered to vote, that was premise for that to happen. So Black activists bought a large farm, and the intention was to farm that land together while everyone owned their own homes on that shared land. And that's basically how our model of community land ownership works outside of our goal isn't really to farm the land, but more so to have this land where you all can own your homes and build a community, the community around it that you all would like to see and invest in it in that way. All right. So when you buy a home on the conventional market, you're purchasing the house and implicitly the land beneath it. And with the community land trust home, you purchase the house, but the land does remain in the trust, sort of like what was explained earlier. You lease the land and you use it in the same way as anyone else would. So I'll go into more details around the general, like the use of the land, but in essence, it would be as if you own that land. You know, you plant your trees, cut down your trees. You can put a shed in your land, you put your fences up and all kind of stuff. It's not, we don't try to discourage use of the land. When it is time to sell your home, you only sell your house and the land is never sold. And the next buyer will need to meet that same income requirements and that you had to meet. And then they're able to buy the home from you at an affordable price. They do agree to the same sort of resale structure when they sell, when they sell the land, and that is how the home is able to be sold from buyer to buyer. As long as the home exists at an affordable price. So there are some benefits to CLT home ownership. Sorry, y'all. So some of the benefits, some of how the CLT benefits homeowners is that they are some of the most affordable homes that you'll find in the Richmond area. And by affordable, we mean that you don't have to fix them up. You do purchase them already, either newly built, newly constructed, or newly rehabbed. So they're always in good condition. You don't have to put any extra effort unless you want to add some things to your home that makes it more like home for you. The CLT also allows the homeowner to build wealth over time, though their monthly mortgage payment and the way that these homes increase in value with wages through their monthly mortgage payment and the way that these homes increase in value with wages instead of the market. So you do get support and assistance for, as long as you're a CLT homeowner. and all of the other benefits of home ownership, which includes pride, stability, and a quality home. So the CLT also benefits the community. And what it does is it benefits the community by improving the availability of quality affordable homes. And as I mentioned before, most of the homes have been built on formerly vacant lots or are older homes that have been rehabbed, but they're always in good condition because we make sure that we do that before the home is available for a buyer to purchase. But the main advantage for the community is that no matter how expensive a neighborhood gets, there will always be homes that are affordable to people making low to moderate income and will help keep our neighborhoods diverse and vibrant. So now we're going to go into who might want to purchase one or who's eligible to purchase a CLT home. So there are income limits. These are income limits to our program. And these are this is one of the criteria for who is eligible for our program or who we seek to service through our program. And it's based on the number of people who will be living in your new home when you purchase it. So there are 2 income limits. This is based on funding and varies from house to house. You cannot make more than this to be eligible to purchase a home. So you can't make more than the 115% area median income in order to be eligible for our program. You will see that this is based on the area median income, which on this chart is reflected as AMI. And these numbers are determined by HUD each year. So for example, if you have a household of 2 people and the house you want to purchase has 80,000, oh Lord, sorry, we can't service you. I'm sorry if you have 2 people. Well, we can service you, but I just jumped the gun. But the house if you have a household of 2 people and the house you want to purchase has an 80% area median income limit, you cannot make more than $57,600 in order to qualify for that 80% AMI home. However, you could qualify for the 115% home as long as you don't make over $82,800. And again, this may vary by the number of people in your household. So please be sure to check that when you're looking into applying. So this is a simple map of where our program currently has homes. And I want to put a plug in for Jen if she'd like to kind of give a layout of what kind of homes are in these locations and how that process has been going.
Yes, thanks, Tiffany. So in our Highland Springs location, we currently have 1 listing, 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and we listed that on last Friday. So we got a lot of foot traffic and we have received a few offers on that property. In our Chesterfield area, we have a 3 bedroom, 1 bath brick rancher. And that home is listed at $175,000. And then we have one in Church Hill, which is on Venable Street. And that one is listed for $190,000. That is a 2-level, 2 bedroom, 2 full bath home that sits on a corner lot. So we currently have 3 active listings right now.
And 2 of those are new construction. Which one is the one that is a rehab, Jen?
It is the one 3001 Rushton Road in Chesterfield. That's our rehab.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jen.
You're welcome.
And again, Jen serves as a great resource for our applicants. If you don't have a realtor, Jen is the way to go. Don't know if I can legally tell you that, but I do know that she is a great resource and would be happy to support you in any way. Okay. So how does our program work? So most of our program is shaped by the ground lease. So we're going to go over some of the basics of the ground lease. So the ground lease is a 99-year lease that's intended to go beyond your life and probably that of your children. We hope not, but maybe. And it's also fully inheritable. So you can pass it down via will or through state law by your heirs. Well, to your heirs through state law. So at closing, MWCLT provides wills for all of their buyers. So that's also something to consider, to think about when passing down this lovely gift or gem. If your heirs choose to live in the home, as their full-time residents, they will either continue on a current ground lease or may have the option of starting a new ground lease. If your heirs do not want to live in the home, they can sell it and get the same proceeds from the sale that they would have if you had sold it before you passed away. Now, there is a ground lease fee, as I had mentioned, and that fee is $100 per year. That would be invoiced to you in the amount of $25 4 times a year, or you can either pay it in one chunk of $100 for the year. Now, this fee is not a part of your escrow. It will be directly invoiced from the land trust. And so just as a notice so that you all are aware. And again, it's in quarterly installments if you don't choose to pay in full. So that would be every 3 months. The board of directors can raise that lease fee on any year ending in 0 or 5. So right now it's 2022. The next year that they can, they have permission to increase it would be 2025 for any reason. But I know this past period where they were able to increase it in 2020, they did not when considering the current climate with COVID and everything else. But again, they are limited on how much they can increase it. And they're only allowed to increase it at the same rate as the consumer price index. And it can never exceed $250 a year. All righty. I'm working on my clicking, y'all. I'm working on my clicking. Here, I'm going to go into some of the things that make our program unique. So our program, your home does have to be your primary place of residence. So for example, let's say you met someone, decided to move in with them, you would need to sell your home so that it's an opportunity for another family to own their home. And you can't turn it into like an investment property and rent it out. There are exceptions to that though, where it's made on a case-by-case basis. And so some examples of that would be like military deployment. Some examples of that would be military deployment, as well as, or any kind of family situation that would require you to be out of your home for extended periods of time. So the next thing is around renovations. So the renovations, we do ask that you get an approval from the board. You can move into your home. You can paint your home, change hardware, light fixtures, everything else. You can install TVs, install shelving, a lot of things that living in an apartment wouldn't permit you to do. You put a shed up, put a fence up. You could do a lot of things, but I think the renovations that we're generally asking you to get permission for are ones that requires a permit from your local jurisdiction. And that would include things like taking down a wall and putting on a deck. There are a couple of reasons why we ask that you do that. One is we want to make sure that anything done to the home is done well, and that it will be safe for future homeowners. And then two, we want to make sure that any renovations are going to serve future homeowners. So like just because you like to bowl, putting in a bowling alley probably wouldn't be appreciated by future homeowners who are looking to purchase a home from the program. So that would be one thing, an example of why we would want certain types of renovations to be to go through our board. Now, the next thing is you will be able to build equity, because I know those first two things seem a little intense, but you will be able to build equity. You will be able to build that from your down payment, your monthly mortgage payment, and your home's increase in value, which is based on wages instead of the market. So we'll go through some examples of that in a little bit. All right. I think I did a little better today with clicking, but I can do some improving. All right. So do we have any questions?
We did have a couple questions in the chat I wanted to get to really quickly. One, Max asked, and this is something we might go over a little later, but we also might not. Is mortgage insurance required even if we don't put 20% down on these properties? And I'm hoping maybe one of our lenders here can answer that.
Yes, hi, this is Viva. So I can only speak specifically for Fulton Mortgage, and mortgage insurance is not required with our program. I do know that Virginia Credit Union, theirs may or may not have mortgage insurance, but the other lenders I'm not sure of.
Thank you, Viva.
And someone else asked how they can view the properties that Jen mentioned earlier. Those properties are available to approved MWCLT applicants right now. So if you are interested in those homes that Jen mentioned, definitely get your application in as soon as possible. And also, if you just are interested in looking at them with we do have pictures of a couple of them. If you want to see, I can try and find some pictures of them. I think of one of them at the moment. And there was one more. Oh, Nicole asked what happens if there's a change in your qualifying income, and Elizabeth answered very helpfully, after you own your home, we do not monitor changes in your income, and that's true. After you buy your home, we hope you get a big raise, and we hope you do great and make so much money, it's none of our business. And Regina asked, does this program qualify for regular homes on the market? And the answer to that is no. These are separate from the market. They have nothing to do with the market. And that is kind of the whole reason that this program exists, is to help create homes that are affordable and not subject to the whims of the market.
Laura, if I could tag on one quick thing to your statement, I just want to clarify. when you pre-qualify for your mortgage, again, I can only speak specifically for Fulton Mortgage. I can't speak for the other lenders, but with our program, it's not specific to Maggie Walker Community Land Trust properties. Even though as wonderful as the program is, if for some reason someone on the call does pre-qualify for one of the mortgages that we use for the program, that mortgage type can still be used for other properties. So I just wanted to add that distinction.
Yes.
Thank
and
you,
to
Viva.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Viva, hi, this is Cynthia. It would
Hey,
be the
Cynthia.
same for Virginia Credit Union as well. So good point, Viva.
Thank you, guys. Very helpful. Let's see. And then Elaine asks, how often are properties available? And the answer is
Whenever
depends.
they are.
Yeah. We are, despite everything, we still have to find land and houses to sell. And therefore, we as an organization still have to, find these things on the market sometimes. And so it can be kind of, they come in waves sometimes.
And then another thing to go off that is we have our own pipeline of properties that we are rehabbing and constructing, but at any time a current homeowner could decide to sell their home, and then any of the homes that are currently in our land trust would be available for people on the anyone with an approved application. So we don't really know if when that will happen, but that's another opportunity to be able to find a home.
And we're currently developing homes in Ettrick Landing. And so those are some that we're hoping would become available. But I can't say it's soon right now, just because as Elizabeth may have implied, we can't really control like our materials and the parts and like the builder's schedule. Like we can't really control some of those things, especially due to COVID, and some of those things taking longer than usual. So right now we have available 3 homes. And an example, we've had several people who were interested in those homes. I know that I've gotten at least 30 calls in the past 2-3 days regarding those properties. So people are definitely, when they're available, people are definitely interested, and everyone has the opportunity to be notified. And what makes our program better is we're not first come, first serve. We really try to make sure this process is equitable in all aspects of our program. So we really—
I can get the last 2 questions.
Oh.
Were you finished, Tiffany? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, I was just going to say we really strive to make sure that we're not recreating a market program, if that makes any sense.
So the next question was from Francia and Christian. What is the wait time if you don't get a property? That again just kind of depends. You are then eligible to keep applying, and we haven't really discussed yet. This kind of goes into the next question, which is how long your application is active for. Once you complete everything, you're in the wait list. Essentially, we would just need to maybe annually, we haven't set a specific time at this point, where we would need you to resubmit your income documents. So thinking about on like a yearly basis, where we can make sure that you still qualify for the program. But as long as you still qualify, you are still have an active application and can apply for a house at any time that one becomes available. And then, are there any current properties that that have acreage that I could farm? That is a great question. Tiffany, do you want to answer that one?
Not that I'm aware of. So unless
I was thinking about the agri-hood.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, because we no, you're good. Because we are in the process of developing the early stages of developing an agri-hood, which will have a communal farm as part of it, which is really, really cool. And we're very excited. But also we have some folks involved with our organization who are very into urban farming. And so, you know, if you find yourself in one of our homes and you want to turn whatever yard space you have into a little, you know, food garden or something similar, then, you know, we have folks who can help you with that.
And I do apologize, my brain, I was like, farming now? No, but we do, like Flora said, we do have an agri-hood that we're partnering to develop, and that's still in progress. The goal of that is to provide homeownership and community farming opportunities to Black women. It's a partnership with Girls for a Change. So that's something that's still being worked out and developed. So right now, no, but in the future, yes. And that is in alignment with the mission and goal of the partnering organization to celebrate Black women's presence and uplift, you know, be able to uplift them with those things. So you can look up Girls for Change and you'll learn more about that. Yes. Any more questions?
I think that's it for now. We can go on to the next section.
Okay. By the way, this is a home. This is one of our homes that was developed in the Highland Springs area. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it was built by Project Homes. Jen, would you like to give us a plug on the price point?
Yes, this, as you mentioned, is a 3-bedroom, 2 full-bath rancher in the Highland Springs area. And this home, I believe, sold for $165,000. And as you mentioned, it was built by Project Homes.
Thank you so much. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how the CLT homeownership compared to renting. All right. So as you already know, when you rent your home, you don't keep any of your rent payments. And when you move to another home, I'm sorry. All right. This chart is simply your monthly rent payment multiplied by 12 months, multiplied by the number of years you're in your home. So for the purpose of our example, we're going to look at paying $825 a month in rent. And after 5 years, you have spent over $49,500 and in rent alone. And you don't get any of that back. And this is a chart over time past that 5-year period. With home ownership, you keep all of the equity you earn by paying the loan principal with your monthly mortgage payments. So this is actually an amortization schedule. If you like numbers, you can Google amortization calculator and put your interest rate in, as well as your amount for your loan and the number of years. And you can see how this plays out with different scenarios. So this, for the purpose of this example, we're going to look at a home purchase in January of 2019. This person purchased the home for $145,000 and put 3% down payment. 3% down as their down payment. We choose this example because the monthly payment would be about the same as that $825 a month in rent. Notice that after the first year, the total you pay to the bank for your loan doesn't change. and you pay the same amount every year. What does change is what goes into principal and what goes into interest. And as you pay down your principal, which is the amount you borrowed from the bank, this starts to shift, so that more money starts to go into principal and less into interest. As I implied in this statement, with renting, it's less controllable. Your costs may vary, and it may go well over that $49,500 in that scenario, which didn't really include any fluctuation in rent. So I know that we have a few lenders on the call. Would any of you all like to answer what would happen? What would happen if a person put one extra payment a year towards their principal?
Hi, this is Viva. Yes, if one additional principal payment is applied towards a loan each year consistently throughout the lifetime of the mortgage, it's the equivalent of shaving roughly 6 to 7 years off of the mortgage, which sounds awesome. But when you look at the dollars and cents for this example, that could very well equate to close to $30,000. So over time, it is pretty significant.
Thank you so much, Viva. All right. And as Viva mentioned in the significant price decrease, it would also start to shift the balance between what's going into interest and what's going into principal a lot sooner if you make an additional payment. So for the purpose of this example, though we aren't assuming any extra payments, this person is just paying their mortgage on time and just the amount due. So after 5 years, you have accrued $16,225 of equity just from paying their mortgage on time. If the buyer were to sell at this point, they would have that $16,255 of equity that they have paid into the house instead of paying rent, plus the increase in the value of the house based on the increase in AMI over 5 years, over that 5 years period. The percentage increase, I'm sorry. So for those of you who don't like numbers as much, this is a graphic representation of how your mortgage works. So this big blue box represents what you are paying to the bank each year for your loan. And it's the same concept for your monthly mortgage payment, just a smaller number. In year 2, most of your money is going into interest, with about 1/4 going towards your principal. And here is the bigger picture. In year 15, you are paying the same amount over the course of a year, but now about half is going into your principal and half into interest. By year 25, assuming you still have a mortgage, if you didn't pay any extra into your principal each year, most of your money is going towards your principal. And these concepts hold true for most mortgages, not just mortgages for CLT homes. So far, we've only been talking about the money you've borrowed from the bank, but another part of your monthly mortgage payment is also called the escrow. And as a homeowner, you also have to pay for insurance and taxes. Usually these are due every 6 months, and they can be a pretty large sum. The bank wants to make sure that you pay both your taxes and your insurance, because if you don't, you could lose your house. So instead of making you pay it twice a year in a big lump sum, they divide up those payments into an amount you can pay monthly. And that becomes a part of your monthly mortgage payment and goes into an escrow account. Then the bank uses an escrow account to pay the insurance company and the city or county where you live. While what you are paying to the bank for your loan doesn't change, your insurance and taxes can fluctuate. This is what can make your monthly payment go up or down from year to year, but it won't fluctuate as much as your rent would over the same period of time, generally speaking. Do we have any questions?
I think you're talking about the escrow and the payment. Is that considered like PMI? But it's broken down into the principal, mortgage, and interest is in that, or help me with that.
Do any of our lenders want to answer that?
Hi, this is Cynthia. How are you? So to answer your question, it does not include the PMI. We're talking about the homeowner's insurance, which is the coverage on the house, and the taxes. The PMI is separate. That's all still incorporated in your mortgage payment. The cool part about it is I know that at Virginia Credit Union, we have a reduced mortgage insurance premium for qualified borrowers. So typically, it's a higher premium if you do a standard mortgage, but there's a program that will help you do reduced mortgage insurance on that. So what she's talking about is just the homeowner's insurance in case something happens with the house where you need, to make a claim for repairs, different things like that. But that does not include the PMI. If you don't put at least 20% down, you have PMI, everyone knows that. But no, to answer your question, it does not include that piece of it. Viva, you have anything you want to add to that too?
Yeah, thanks, Cynthia. Just to reiterate what I mentioned earlier, that the Fulton Mortgage Program used to finance Maggie Walker Community Land Trust properties, that program does not have mortgage insurance. So that is not applicable and will not be a part of your payment if you choose to purchase one of these properties and finance with Fulton Mortgage. Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you both.
We had one question in the chat about how much are closing costs typically.
Closing costs are going to vary. This is Viva, by the way, but closing costs on average, if you allow roughly 3 to 4% of the sales price of the property, then that'll give a good ballpark estimate for how much to expect for closing fees. And while I'm speaking, someone had a question about what is PMI. I apologize, we keep mentioning that term, but PMI refers to private mortgage insurance. And it doesn't do anything for the home buyer. It's a condition of a loan, as Cynthia mentioned, when someone is putting down less than a 20% down payment. Some loans will require that. It's protection for the lender in case the buyer were to default on the mortgage.
There was also a question, I believe, about the typical square footage of the homes in the land trust, and that's going to depend on what neighborhood they're in. And Jen, do you care to give us an idea of some of the square footages that we'll see in different neighborhoods?
Yes. So the home that we have up right now is one of our listings in Church Hill. And this particular home, the square footage is 1,680, and this sold for $227,500. Our ranchers normally range between, like the one that we have on the market right now, I can give you the square footage for that. Anywhere between 1,100, 1,240 square feet. And those are mostly our rehabs, but we recently built a new construction on Emporia Avenue, and that one, the square footage on that one was, 1,200 square feet. So between, say, 1,200, 1,250 for our one levels, and the one that we have up right now was a little bit larger than what we normally see.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
And this is another plug for one of our another home that was sold in our program. It was actually the first MWCLT home, and this one was in Church Hill. It has 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths, as well as a double veranda on the back. And Jen, would you like to give us a plug on the price point?
Yes, this one sold for $227,500. So really good price, a lot of house.
And in the area, what does these homes this size home typically range for?
They're ranging now between 400,000 and 500,000.
Thank you. Any additional questions before we move on?
I had a question about real estate agent fees. Can Jen touch a little bit on that?
Okay, sure. As a buyer, which if you're in the waiting pool, you're going to be purchasing, you get free representation. If you're selling or listing a home, then you will have the due diligence of paying both agents. So good news, you get free representation when you go through our program. I am paid by the seller. And if you bring a realtor, your realtor is also paid by the seller. And the fee is, it can range anywhere between 2.5 and 3% commission.
Thanks, Jen. And I had a quick question. I think we'll get into this in a little bit, but we had a question about certain mortgages that are required. And for our program, you need a conventional loan. And I was hoping maybe Viva or Cynthia could touch a little bit on that really quickly.
Yes, this is Viva. The conventional loan option that I believe, well, at least a few of the lenders I know of are using conventional mortgages that typically are designed to keep the out-of-pocket costs very minimal and the interest rate very attractive. And again, specifically for Fulton Mortgage, our particular program is one that is not going to penalize the borrower for a lower credit score. So for example, if someone may have had some credit blemishes and credit score might be at the minimum required of 620, with the traditional conventional mortgage, a credit score that low with mortgage insurance, that mortgage would get expensive very quickly. But our program does not penalize for having the lower credit score. So whether the score is 620 or 820, it's still the same interest rate.
Thank you so much. Ready to move on? And we'll have other opportunities for questions as well. So just so you all are aware of that. All right. So here I'm going to go over a little bit of info about taxes. So you are responsible for all of your taxes on the house, but not the land. Taxes are deductible if you itemize your tax return. And I would recommend seeking guidance and professional expertise from a tax expert. As far as maintenance, you are responsible for the upkeep of your home and any necessary maintenance. So this would look like fixing broken appliances, a leaky roof, broken window, and things like that. I'm so sorry, as it relates to taking care of the upkeep and maintenance of your home. So what happens when you sell our CLT home? Well, your CLT home, not ours, because once it's yours, it's yours. So this is where you would want to pay attention to some details, because we are going to go through some examples of the resale formula. So you have a full understanding of that. So when you sell your home, you are entitled to get back your cash equity, which is your down payment, your earned equity, which is a loan principal you pay off by making your monthly mortgage payments, as well as your home's increase in value, which is based on the percentage increase in the area while you own your home. So here, this is a real home that was sold in our Randolph neighborhood. Another, like all of the pictures are one of our homes. The home appraised for $215,000 and was sold for $145,000. So the home buyer borrowed less, had lower monthly payments, and a lower down payment than they would have had if they had purchased this home on the market. So when you go to sell your home, we start with your original sales price of $145,000. And we calculate the increase in AMI while you have the home, while you have owned the home. And the years this home was purchased, the AMI was $83,000. And when they go to sell their home, when you go to sell your home, we estimated that the new AMI would be around $90,200. AMI has increased over on an average of around 2% a year in the Richmond area. So in this scenario, over the 5 years the person has lived in their home, AMI has increased about $7,000, which is 8.41%. So we multiply your original sales price by that 8.41%, which equals that $12,200. And then the equity will be that $12,200 that your home has increased in value, plus any down payments you put into your home, plus any principal that you've paid through your mortgage payments. Though historically this has not been the case, if AMI decreases while you live in your home, you will be able to sell your home for what you purchased it for. So at no point will you lose any of your initial investment. All right. So as a reminder, this is an example of the amortization schedule that we went through earlier. The homeowner has accrued $16,225 just by paying their monthly mortgage payment. In this example, after 5 years, they have $16,225 of earned equity plus that $12,200 from the increase in the value of their home. That gives us a total of $28,425 in equity. All right. So over the same 5 years, they would have spent $49,500 in rent. And instead, they accrued $28,425 in monies. And again, that would have included the earned equity, the increase in the home's value over time, as well as the down payment. And this is just a visual chart to help for those of you who conceptualize better with a visual representation. So the CLT model makes it possible to keep this home affordable for future families who may be in the same economic situation you're in right now. And again, we take the original sales price of $145,000 and add that $12,200 from the increase in the value of the home. And the home would resell for about $157,000 plus some fees. All right, any questions? Y'all don't be scared now. Look, I just been motor mouthing all call. I want to create room for you all
I
to.
have a question. After you do your application, how long usually does the approval process takes? Or like to know if you have been approved or denied?
I can answer that. So it really depends. Are you talking about getting a pre-approval from a lender or into our program?
Into the program.
So it really depends on how much of your information you provide at once. So typically you'll send in your application, your and then your supporting income documentation. So we ask for, I think we'll go into that in a bit, so I won't get too far into that. And then we'll have you send in your pre-approval, which tends to be the biggest thing that can limit your ability to get into the program. That's the thing that a lot of people sometimes can have a hard time getting. But then we also ask for your attendance in a home ownership class and a few other things. So once you have everything together, the process is usually pretty quick, but sometimes it just depends how long it takes to get everything together and to get into the program.
Okay, so applying for the loan is a part of, you do that while waiting for approval, or do you get approved first and then go, start the process of applying for the loan?
So there's no real requirement. We have people that do both. We often recommend that people submit their income documents to us first so that we know that you would be approved into the program through our income limits. But then if you're looking for homes all over and some at market rate, you might have already had a pre-approval letter from a lender and submit everything all at once. It really depends on the individual.
Okay.
And then we have one question, is there an age limit for the program? I think over 18, but I don't think we've really had that issue yet. Flora, do you know?
But there's no age limit. There is an age minimum, but there is no limit.
Oh, correct. Yes, we have all ages apply.
And question, I think, are you all pre-approving the, I heard you say two things. You can also go on your own to get the pre-approval through whatever lender. You suggest that we send it all in to you all first to get pre-approved to see if we will qualify for the loan and also the program itself. I guess, and it, like I said from the beginning, I think it's the challenging things about the credit that people tend to kind of shy off with. And I think knowing that that is in a stable, and I guess that's having someone good, that's a good relative with a good lender, I guess is what I'm throwing out, would be helpful.
Yes, that's right. We sometimes have people who are really, really excited about our program and apply, send everything in, but then just have a hard time getting approved. But then we have resources that will point people to maybe to work with a credit counselor, with a housing counselor, or other resources that if folks really want to be in our program, we can help put them in the right direction. And then we have good relationships with the lenders that are in our program. So if it's just like an informal question about what you need to be approved or help along the way, everyone has been really responsive when we have had people needing assistance in the past.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I know we got a couple of relatives online tonight. I guess having, I don't know what that point we'll get to the contact information for them, because that is, I think, the first key for that to putting us in the right direction. Some that's trying to deal with the credit challenging situations first.
Yeah, and maybe one of our lenders can hop on and help answer that concern as well.
Yeah, hi, this is Viva. Thank you for bringing that up again. That was one thing that I wanted to kind of chime in and on and definitely address. Credit challenges happen. And the lenders definitely, I can speak for everybody in this industry with saying that we absolutely understand that piece. Now, anyone who may have had some credit bruises in the past, it's always a good idea to defer to the resources that have been presented earlier. Commonwealth Catholic Charities was mentioned, Southside Community Development and Housing Corporation, Housing Opportunities Made Equal. And there's another resource that Maggie Walker Community Land Trust has as well that would be super, super useful. Housing credit counseling, it can't be overstated. If there's any kind of nervousness about this process, that is going to be a great starting point just to build up that confidence, work on the credit. But if you're choosing to connect with a lender to pre-qualify, I can only speak for myself here, and I know, and working with Cynthia, she does this as well. We're going to work with you one-on-one to try to guide you in the right direction and point you in the right direction, as Elizabeth said. But the housing credit counselors are highly useful with getting credit on track.
And this is Cynthia, and just to piggyback with Viva, and definitely what she said, we'll definitely try to work with you. But you don't know where you are until you know where you are, So a lot of times that's where, your lender will come into play, to sit down and consult with you and find out exactly where those scores are. We can do a credit simulation to see, okay, if this is paid off or if this is brought up to date, and we can see where your scores will go. So that way you're not working on things and that's not really going to move that meter, so to speak, if you're trying to raise those scores. So once you, work on those things, it's, a lot of times it may be delayed, but not denied. And we can all bring it back together. Once you have those scores that are needed to qualify, then we can actually start working on your pre-qualification. But just because you come in and your credit score is not where it needs to be, that's just the starting point. We can try to get you where you need to be, because that's our goal at the end of the day, is for you to be a homeowner. And I know for Viva and myself, that's really what we focus on.
And if I could chime in one more time, I'm sorry, Dr. Towns, I believe, had a question about if Maggie Walker Community Land Trust is pre-qualifying folks in. Just wanted to clarify that through this process, it's going to feel like you're applying for multiple loans because the Maggie Walker Community Land Trust eligibility, that's one step. And that's where working with Tiffany and Flora and Elizabeth and all those folks come into play to determine eligibility for the program. That is completely separate from working with the lenders to determine the mortgage eligibility. So each lender is going to have their own requirements for determining eligibility for the individual loan programs. And if anyone chooses to apply for grant monies through outside agencies such as Housing Opportunities Made Equal or Southside Community Development and Housing Corporation, we're all separate entities, and each entity is going to have their own separate requirements and application process and procedures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, now I'm going to put in a plug for this home that's on the screen. This is a home in Chesterfield, and it was rehabbed and sold for around $133,000. Jen, would you like to put in a plug on price point?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tiffany.
No. I said just price point and any additional details you think.
No, you called it out correctly. It sold for $133,000, and the square footage on this home is 1,040, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. And I think Tiffany did mention it was in our Chesterfield area.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
All righty. So now we're going to go into the application process, or how to apply. Here on the screen is actually a list of our lenders that we've worked with. I thought that we updated this list, but It's updated on our website. I need to update our slideshow. So we have Fulton Mortgage Company, or Fulton Bank, Town Bank and Mortgage, Town Bank Mortgage, Southern Trust Mortgage, Virginia Credit Union, and CNF Mortgage Company, or CNF Financial Organization. I'm so sorry. And again, the link is on our website. So if Flora, you can drop that in our chat for people to check out, that would be very, very, very helpful. Thank you so much, Flora. So in addition to the lenders that will lend for our program model, I'm going to go over some tips or the steps for our application process. So congratulations, you've completed the first step, which is attending an info session for our program. As far as the application goes, you would need to submit 3 months of your most recent pay stubs and or benefit statements, 2 of your most recent federal tax returns and matching W-2s or 1099s, 6 months of bank statements, as well as a loan pre-qualification, and in addition to a Virginia Housing Homebuyer Education course, which you can complete online or in person. And I do believe there's other options for that homebuyer education that Elizabeth can give a plug on.
Yes, so we offer our applicants to go through the Virginia Housing Homebuyer class, and that one is about 6 hours long online. And I think that they're starting to do in-person classes on weekends now, but I'd have to double check on that. And then also the organization HOME, which is an acronym for Housing Opportunities Made Equal, also has a home buyer education course. And if you are under the 80% AMI, they often have down payment assistance and closing cost assistance with that home buyer course. And then Tiffany, what did, was that it that you wanted me to help you explain?
Yes, I think that was it, unless there was another piece of the application before they enter the applicant pool. So once you've done all of that, you enter the applicant pool. And from there, you'd be notified of any available homes via email. And from that point, you'll be given like timeframes of when contracts need to be submitted for you to be considered for the home. Now, if there's a home where only one person put an application in for it, then the process is fairly simple as far as just verifying income. We may ask for, more than likely we'll ask for updated income documentation to verify that, that you're still eligible. And also any additional information that Elizabeth might reach out to make sure it's up to date and current. And in addition to that, if there is a home where more than one applicant submits an interest, then our prioritization point system actually does apply. So with our prioritization point system, we hope to be able to advance equity in the process. That's our intention, to advance equity in that process, to figure out who would be the person to move forward with the purchase of that home. And that point system checklist can be found online. We are in the process of, making updates. But at this point, the one that you see online would be the one that would be applied with some minor considerations to that. And if you can add that in the chat, Flora, if you haven't already, I'd really, really appreciate it. Flora's great. Like, Flora has the links on deck, but
Sorry, what was the one you needed?
The what did I ask you?
Prioritization, fire prioritization list.
Yeah, one
Thank
second.
you. My
second.
brain is definitely.
Michonne asked, would applicants on the waiting list need to take the info session again? So no, you're just required to take the info session one time unless you're on the applicant pool for a very long time and we've had very significant changes. We do not require you to take it more than once.
And yes, Elaine, all of these links will be sent out in the follow-up email, just as long as you respond to the poll at the end of this session. There will be a poll/quiz at the end of the session. It's not actually a quiz. You're not being graded. It's not part of your application. It's just to make sure that you were here. So please stay on for that and answer the poll at the end of the session.
And also just to gauge like how well we're doing, how well we're conveying the information, to get a sense of that through your responses. So if you failed the quiz, we will not stop you from becoming a homeowner.
There's no failing.
But we highly encourage you to retake it if you failed it.
There's no failing, and we will not ask you to retake it. Don't worry about it.
We won't ask you, but you may want to know the information going into homeownership. Thanks, Flora. All right, so after contracts are submitted, we do go through a process of income verification and all that good stuff that I mentioned before. And once we identify who's the person that would move forward, then that person will be notified, and we'll go into closing where you'll meet with an attorney to discuss the lease and closing details, as well as being afforded the opportunity to complete a will free of charge through our program. So some tips in going through some tips for you with going through the application process and going through our program. One, it would be to register with Home for counseling services and access to down payment assistance. And Flora can drop that in the chat, as well as to keep a personal file of income documents to send to lenders and or financial counselors. 3, get income qualified with MWCLT before applying for loan pre-qualification with lenders. 4, stay connected with MWCLT staff as you go through the loan pre-qualification process. And then lastly, don't wait, apply now. If you are interested, some next steps would be to pick up an application today. Well, not today because no one's going to be at the office for you to do that, but you can go online using the link that Flora is going to drop in the chat, but it's also available on our website to access the application. You can fill that out via fillable form. You can print it out, drop it off. You can fill it out and email it, scan it and email it. You can fax it over. So we're very flexible in how you're able to get those documents in. The next thing would be to collect and send over the documents that were requested in the application. So that would be income documents, homebuyer education certificate, and your loan pre-qualification letter. And then next you would submit the application by, as I mentioned, dropping those off to through one of these mechanisms. This is actually The resources, again, that we listed at the beginning of the call. And again, Commonwealth Catholic Charities credit counseling, and their email and phone number, as well as the housing resource lines contact information. And I want to say gracias, thank you, for attending this info session. These are the emails to contact us if you have any additional questions. Yeah. Nikki's not on this call, but she is a resource to our homeowners and any kind of stewardship opportunities. Nikki has also been passing on a wealth of knowledge to me as I continue to transition into my role to be able to support you all.
And if you have any direct questions about like gathering your documents or any application related things, please feel free to reach out to me, Elizabeth, because I do most of the processing of those applications. So please let me know if you have any specific questions to your application.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is great. So yeah. So let's see. Okay. So I'm gonna go into our homeownership bridge to own program, and I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible, but make sure that I don't miss anything out. So this homeownership bridge to own program, we don't currently have any homes available for this program, but it is designed to help participants to get from renting to homeownership in about a year. So rent is $958 per month, and about half of that, $500 to be exact, of the rent goes into an escrow account for when you purchase the home. We work with credit counselors at Commonwealth Catholic Charities. We have you work with credit counselors at Commonwealth Catholic Charities to help you get to where you need to as far as your credit and to become home ownership ready in that year span. As well as we seek to serve households that make around 50% of the area medium income. All right. Now, the credit score, the minimum credit score that you would have to have is around a 600 and not be able to qualify for a conventional loan. The minimum household annual income is $38,320, and the maximum household income is below 50% AMI. So actively seeking homeownership, you have to actively, we hope to attract people who are actively seeking homeownership opportunities and want to live in the city of Richmond, Church Hill area. And the potential, again, you all would have to be have the potential to be mortgage ready within a year. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a poll. Okay. All right, so this quiz is only 4 questions, so don't be scared, okay? All right. So I just launched the poll. And again, this is going to kind of mark your attendance as well as kind of gauge how we did in presenting the information.
And if you're having trouble answering the poll, just make sure you've scrolled all the way down and have answered all the questions. If you can't think of an answer, don't worry about it. Just pick something random and submit. Again, this isn't graded. It's not going to affect your eligibility at all. It's just to gauge how well we did. If you still are having trouble or you can't see the quiz, shoot me an email and I will get you the follow-up information. My email is Flora, that's Flora, which is my name, at MWCLT.org, which I put in the chat just a minute ago. We are going to go over the answers if you are curious. So stick around if you want to hear the answers.
All right, we're still waiting for, maybe we're not waiting for, I think we're still waiting for.
You should have about, I think we can call it at like 17 or 18 responses. And Joanne, if you would please shoot us an email. I am putting my email in the chat. You can also call us. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let me put our main phone number in the chat so you can call us.
All righty, and I think that I think everyone who's going to participate has. So I'm going to go ahead and end that poll and share the results. So it looks like we have about, can y'all see the results?
I can't, but that's because I'm a host. Elizabeth, can you see the
Yeah,
results?
I can see it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great. So right now it looks like we have some close to half of you all, not quite, who are interested, who are going to go ahead and submit an application. And then about close to 40% are going to do it, just not right now. But that's still good. Then we have about 86% of you all who stayed on the call, who answered the question, true for is the MWCLT home fully inheritable, which means they can be passed down to your heirs regardless of income, as long as they will use the property as their primary residence. That answer is true. And the next question, what equity will you get back when you sell your home, your MWCLT home? And we have the correct answer was all of the above. So you do get back your down payment, your loan principal you paid off, as well as the increase in value. the last question was, how do the homes increase in value? And based on that, the correct answer to that question is based on the area median income. Most of you all got that answer correct. Thank you. Alrighty. Okay, I think that we are all set. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Does anyone have any additional questions while we have Jen and Viva and Cynthia on the line, or Flora, myself, and Elizabeth?
Okay, I guess no questions.
Yeah, I don't see any more in the chat.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for taking your time on a Tuesday to come learn about our program.
Thank you. Well, hasta luego.
Great job, Tiffany.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
have a good night.
Thank
You
you all.
as
Have a good
well.
night.